Seed of Chucky was originally pitched late 1998. With the success of Bride of Chucky and its open cliffhanger, creator Don Mancini was hoping to continue the story of this now revamped franchise. Universal Pictures was on board up until April of 1999 when the Columbine massacre took place. They went ahead and dismissed the project due to the subject matter of adolescence and murder. Mancini originally wanted Seed of Chucky to be released the holiday season, preferably Christmas Day. A majority of the movie was filmed in the second largest soundstage in Europe, Castel Studios in Romania. Due to the circumstances of being a British co-production, a majority of the actors and actresses featured are European. The way Glenn's nightmare sequence is shot using point of view is a direct homage to John Carpenter's Halloween and films of Brian De Palma. Seed to this very day is the only movie in the franchise that includes nudity. Dull nudity does not count. Mancini chose Billy Boyd to voice Glenn after seeing him in the Lord of the Rings movies. He mentioned specifically the scene in Return of the King where Boyd's character Pippin sings is what ultimately won him over. Also, this is the first and only time we ever see Chucky and Tiffany with the Made in Japan wrist stamps. Tony Gardner of Altarian Inc. was hired to fill the shoes of Chucky animatronics and FX coordinator Kevin Yeager, who worked on all previous films. Yeager was currently working on Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events and had to decline. The reasoning for the addition of Tiffany's choker was to mask extra wiring which was needed to give her more expressions, compared to Bride where she's a lot more stiff and less animated. Jason Fleming, who plays Santa, has publicly stated Seed is the one movie he'd erase from his filmography. His reasonings being, and I quote, "I was dressed as Santa, getting killed by a doll, on a set in Romania. I was thinking to myself, where did it all go wrong? Guess he really was playing himself after all." The assistant director for the Chucky Goes Psycho movie is played by Don Mancini's boyfriend Danny. When Jennifer is talking to Joan about how Julia Roberts sleeps with directors to get work, the studio had to force in the line, "Well, you know that's not true," to avoid trouble. Mancini wrote the character of Pete Peters the paparazzi with John Waters in mind. He found out through Justin Whalen, Andy in Part 3, who worked with John on Serial Mom, that he was a huge Chucky fan. Waters often expresses a lot about how Chucky's the absolute best of the slashers due to his charisma and personality. Mancini wrote Redman's character originally for Quentin Tarantino. His ultimate pitch to Quentin was days on end making out with Jennifer Tilly and a score by his favorite composer, Pino Donaggio. Jennifer has admitted to not wearing any underwear during the scene when she's playing Kissy Face with Tony Gardner's decapitated head, for fear the underwear would add extra bulk with the dress she was wearing. Which sucked because she ended up slipping into the blood and exposing herself to the entire crew. For the infamous masturbation scene, Tony's team actually went the extra mile and built Chucky's privates. The trophy Tiffany throws at Jennifer is Tilly's actual Most Improved Actress award from E! When Jennifer slips and falls onto the floor trying to get away from Tiffany, you'll notice the obvious body double supporting a bigger butt. Universal was forced to add the disclaimer, Britney Spears does not appear in this movie, at the end of the trailer and TV spots by Britney's own management team. The only missing scene that's included on the DVD is the deleted Debbie Carrington scene. In this, Tiffany sneaks onto the set of Chucky Goes Psycho, where she's being used as the Tiffany puppet. She's sitting in the makeup chair about to be used for filming when suddenly the assistant director enters, telling the puppeteers that the doll will not be necessary and they're using small actress Debbie Carrington instead. If you don't know, Debbie was a body double for Tiffany in Bride of Chucky and also Chucky in the newly released Curse of Chucky. Debbie barges into the makeup room flaunting around and being an obnoxious diva, boasting about how she was born to play the role of Tiffany. This enrages Tiffany and she slowly starts grabbing at the nail file while Debbie isn't looking, with the intention of killing her. She ultimately has a change of heart and disregards the situation, knowing her agreement to stop the violence. In one of the audio commentary tracks, Jennifer Tilly shares the original concept for the morning sickness scene. Instead of vomiting into her purse with her likeness on it, it was to take place on the set of Chucky Goes Psycho while shooting the resurrection scene from Bride. She was supposed to start strip-teasing, but suddenly gets sick and vomits all over Alexis Arquette's character Damien. The food you see Redman scarfing down was said to have been tainted due to Romania being Salmonella City, as quoted by Jennifer, which is why, if you look closely, he never actually swallows any of it. Instead of watching the Martha Stewart execution coverage, the dolls were supposed to be watching an Oakland Raiders game, but sadly they couldn't afford the footage from the NFL. Tiffany's beauty mark will occasionally appear and reappear. Chucky's scars were blurred out in the TV spots. The fight scene between Chucky and Glenn was intended on being a lot longer, but was ultimately trimmed for budgetary reasons and time. Don Mancini states that the time it was originally written back in 1999, the fight was supposed to be a parody of The Matrix. The names Glenn and Glenda and the subject of gender confusion are direct homages to the classic Ed Wood film Glenn and Glenda. Rumor has it that Chris Sarandon was approached to reprise his role of Detective Mike Norris, but declined due to scheduling conflicts. Seed was made with a budget of $12 million, which made it at the time the least expensive of the franchise. It ended up pulling nearly $9 million its first week, and was eventually pulled after its third. It did, however, make its money back internationally at $25 million. It also goes without saying that Seed is the most unsuccessful entry of the series. That's all for now. Make sure to give a like if you've learned anything new, and don't forget to check out my other Child's Play fact videos. Until next time.